Guess let's go for it. Hey there my dudes, I am Laddie and welcome to another video. So this video is, let's call it controversial. A bit like Marmite, you're gonna either love it or you're gonna hate it. It's a topic that I have seen, I'd say like there are some people in between, but I've seen two very strong sides of this. And as anyone who's been watching my channel for long enough knows, I always try to have a mid-ground with everything, or I try to step back and look at something and have a mid-ground on everything. And I am trying with this, but some of the things that the people in this video are saying annoy me. They make me irritated, often verging on anger, I guess, when I'm watching this. But well, I guess we'll have to see my opinions on it as we watch the video. So yeah, it is the chat about dating preferences that Jacqueline and Ariel did a video together where they speak about a response that they got from SJW people, so SJW responses, or the people that they say at SJW, their response to them saying, well, to Ariel saying specifically that she wouldn't date a trans woman because, well, she didn't say that originally. She said originally something to do with she's attracted to women because of she first saw women and their bodies and their boobs and their vajages. And then obviously the transgender community were like, whoa. So she does explain it in this. It's a topic, like, I agree with some of the stuff they say, but I don't agree with the fact that they're saying, oh, it's just, let's just get into this. I'm kind of nervous to get into this because, yeah. And I'm here in my Marvel thing that I've got for a few upcoming videos. I'm wearing this because I wear it all the time. It's just I usually take it off when I start a video, but I thought, you know what, why not? I'm going to be comfortable and I'm going to make videos. So, without further ado, let's get into this.
Good morning, girlfriends and boyfriends and everyone else in between. Today I have a brand new video. I've wanted to do reactions to videos for about 3 years now. I don't want to call anyone individually out, but I feel like it's gotten to the point where it needs to happen because
that's all I do on my channel.
That's all you do on your channel. So I'm like, well, Jacqueline is the expert at this, so let me have her in the video. There's been some talk on the SJW side of YouTube about if being a lesbian who's only attracted to women with vaginas in a sexual orientation way. Like, I can be attracted to women who have penises if I didn't know, but then when it gets to sex, it's like, well, I couldn't do it. I would get attracted to other parts of them.
You bigot.
But like, you know, I had a conversation with Jacqueline like an hour ago. You might not be attracted to every single body part of your current partner. You know, like sometimes I don't, like I'm really, it's gonna sound weird, but I'm attracted to people's hands.
Oh, okay. So already I can see this is going to be a hard one. She's saying the fact I'm not attracted to women with penises is like the fact that she's not attracted to something and more attracted to people like people's hands. Let's see where she goes with this.
This is just to be transparent. I don't want anyone to go on their videos hating. That's not what this channel's about. This is just simply about bringing back what I consider to be true feminism.
Okay, I know she was a TERF. Okay, so what she means, I think what she's trying to say by true feminism, I'll let her speak later. True feminism, there's a thing called TERF that I've seen. TERF feminism is trans exclusionary radical feminist. Pretty much a feminist that excludes trans women from the female part of feminism. It kind of like wants traditional feminism like it used to be, but now there's a new form of feminism that is including trans women, and I think that's good. I think that's progressive. It's putting trans women and women in the same barrel so that they're just all seen as women. But she wants...
And not disguising feminism like sex shaming, because that's basically what they're doing. They're shaming lesbians for enjoying vagina. That shouldn't even be a question.
Okay, right. With this thing, it's so confusing to me, like my own opinions on it, because okay, so they say they're shaming lesbians for being attracted to. I don't think they're trying to shame you. I think they're trying to stop you from shaming them, because I guess trans people just want to feel and be treated and whatever exactly as the gender that they recognize themselves as, and putting them separate to that kind of disvalues that fact of what they want. It doesn't disvalue it, but it kind of does. It really doesn't help them, that's all I'm saying, but it's only early in the video, so let's just move on.
So today I thought I would discuss the really lighthearted topic of, is not wanting to fuck a trans person transphobic? Also, is not wanting to date someone of a certain race racist?
No.
I was like, who's gonna click the button first?
Alright, okay.
You.
We're done. That was it. Should we answer your question?
It's bordering, it doesn't help the community, the fact that people separate the whole gender thing, but I don't, like, I think it's so hard to do with preferences, because even myself, like, okay, I think I just need to continue watching the video to try and grasp what I think of this, because it's such a conflict myself.
I think if you're attracted to somebody and then you find out that they're Asian and you don't date them, that's different.
Right.
Same as if you're attracted to a trans person and you date them, you find out they're trans, that's transphobic. It's the same thing. If you date someone who's of a certain, like, if you date someone who doesn't quite look, maybe, and you can't quite tell what their, like, background is or what their race is, and then suddenly they're like, yeah, I'm part this, or I am Asian or something, and then you say, okay, no, I don't want to date you. Yeah, that's racism. But it's the same with if Ariel started dating a trans woman, and then the trans woman was like, yeah, I'm trans and stuff, and she's like, actually no, I don't want to date you. But the real question is whether it's bad to have genital preferences. Because if she said she started dating them and then she said, no, I don't want to date you because you have, she was like, no, I don't want, because you have that, you haven't had the operation down there yet, I don't want to date you because of that. The real question is that fully transphobic? Because she isn't stopping dating her because of the fact that she is a trans person. But then again, it does relate, because the whole transgender thing is a part of the fact that they have the genitalia that they don't recognize as something that they belong to. So I guess we'll continue on.
I am not saying that you have to have sex with any kind of person, okay? You do not have to have sex with a trans person, or a black person, or an Asian person, or a disabled person.
She's starting out the video agreeing with us, basically.
Don't look, oh, look at you. Don't look so smug. Don't look so smug with yourself, Ariel.
Like, that's the standard, right? You shouldn't have to have sex with anyone.
Yeah, okay, right. We're all agreed on that, hopefully, that you shouldn't have to have sex with anybody. No one's forcing nobody to do the do, okay?
I realize this is basically like rape culture in a way.
I'm okay. I just had a slight aneurysm. Just bring out the rape culture. Let's do it.
Like, honestly, like, if you don't fuck somebody, it's abuse, is what they're saying.
There's something wrong with
There's something wrong with you.
You're not having sex with somebody else. Like,
Right.
could you imagine, like, a dude using that as an argument to a girl? Well, you don't want to have sex with me? What's wrong with you? Like, that, in any other context, would be horrible.
No trans person is actually physically being like to them, you know what, you have to come in, knock, 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 you have to sleep with me now.
Allow me to explain. Essentially, this whole thing came up because some lovely cis lesbians were tweeting on the internet.com about how they'll never have sex with a trans person.
I wonder
This is about
who
you.
that cis lesbian is.
Wait, you should explain this. Wait, this is about you, right?
This is literally about me. I made a video with you and Melanie at Buffer Festival.
Oh my god, our
This all
Buffer
stemmed
Fest
from this.
videos, okay.
And
that was such a cute video.
It was a really cute video. And we discussed, this is all stemming from this, you realize that?
I know I didn't until you told me earlier.
We
today,
made a video, me, you, and Melanie. I was gay, Melanie's bi, and you're straight. And we all talked about how we each knew what sexuality we were. And they asked me, and I said I knew I was gay because I saw a female form, vagina and boobs, and I was attracted to it. When I saw a male form, wasn't attracted to it. And the whole trans community went up in flames, telling me that I was transphobic, that I was sexist also, for degrading women and making women just about their body parts. I can't think of the fucking word that they use.
Objectifying?
Yeah, basically that I was objectifying women and making them all about their body parts and not about the actual person. Most of the time, when you figure out your sexuality, it is physically focused. Like, you look at something and you're physically attracted to it, that's sexuality in my opinion. It could be romantically driven, which is why some people are bisexual but not biromantic. Are you gonna tell a bisexual girl who does not want to marry or date a lesbian that she is in some way objectifying women also because she only wants to fuck them? Like, that makes no sense.
The one thing about this is I do understand what she's saying about the difference between biromantic or whatever romantic and bisexuality, because I think you can be biromantic but only like heterosexual, or you can be biromantic but only homosexual. So there is a difference between the sexuality, and I guess sexuality does seem to stem to have something to do with genitalia. I'm such self-conflict going on right now. It is, yeah, well, I don't know what to say. It's just like, I get that part that she's on about, that yes, there is a difference, and people, my view is whatever. As I was saying, my view in a last video, live and let live. Okay, live and let live in one of my older videos, because I think that if someone wants to do something in their life, as long as they're not hurting anyone else, go for it. I think it's just the fact that they've made this video that the live and let live thing doesn't really apply.
Nobody was out there tweeting them being like, yo, FYI, you gotta fuck a trans person.
They were messaging me telling me that I'm a transphobic.
Isn't that kind of what she's saying in this video?
Yeah.
Eventually, like, she kind of gets to that point.
She says that nobody was messaging me saying that I was transphobic if I didn't want to date a trans person. Yes, a lot of people were messaging me. And people in traditional media as well, which is really unfortunate.
They definitely will not have sex with a trans girl. Thank you so much for clarifying.
To clarify, I never said I wouldn't fuck a trans woman. I said I wouldn't fuck a woman with a penis.
So do trans women not count as women with penises? Or are we just cutting that off there? I mean, wouldn't fuck a trans person. I'd never said I wouldn't fuck a trans woman. I said I wouldn't fuck a woman with a penis. Women with penises, like the trans women that happen to have the male genitalia, are still like counting as trans women. So what you just said doesn't really make any sense at all. And the one thing that I just pisses me off sometimes about what Ariel does is she's not sensitive at all. I'm not someone who, you can say whatever words or whatever to me and I'm usually chill with it, to be fair, but there are a lot of people who just really like saying something like male genitalia words and stuff like that can really just saying like a woman with that, it can really hurt someone. And
kind of felt like you couldn't ask why not without being accused of lesbian erasure, which to me doesn't really sound like it makes much sense, because why would asking a lesbian why she doesn't want to have sex with a certain kind of woman be lesbian erasure unless you don't think trans women are women?
Damn, son. That's exactly like, yeah, how can it be women, like, because obviously the new TERF things that exclude trans women from feminism and people like that with lesbian erasure, trying to erase like gay women because, you know, trans women are apparently not seen as women. How do you justify that? Because
trans women are women, but a lot of trans women have penises, and that's not something that most lesbians enjoy. And having to suck a penis, which I've never experienced. Who the fuck says that someone who's a trans woman is going to want you to suck whatever? I know of plenty trans people who know, including myself kind of, I don't know, want nothing to do with what they've got down there. Like, they're at that point in their transition where
you know, they probably won't even want that, but they'll do stuff to other people or whatever. And it isn't like, they're not gonna, you don't have to interact with what they've got. And
sexuality is...
Don't wink at me, Ariel. I see you there. Don't wink at me. See, you know, that clip, do you know how long it took me searching through ASMR mouth noises, 1 hour edition? I ended up downloading a video called ASMR Intense Binaural Wet Mouth Sounds that I now have installed on my computer. So thank you, internet, for putting that on my search history.
In my experience, is completely biological and chemical.
What is the word she keeps using? Lesbian a what?
Erasure. Like, they're erasing the idea of what lesbianism is. And to me, yeah, you kind of are, like...
Fuck off. Fuck off. No. No. What do you think you're saying? Trans women are just women. They can be part of the female whatever. It's not erasure. If you... I just can't. This part pisses me off. Let's just continue.
Before you know what's in somebody's pants, you are attracted to somebody because of their physical appearance. If you don't know them, obviously, just their physical appearance. That can be the way they look, the way they smell, the way they sound, the way they feel. People that are trans women but are still presenting as male or still have male characteristics, it would be understandable to me as a lesbian why people that like women wouldn't be attracted to a trans woman at that stage. Because yeah, you are still a woman, but you are presenting and you still smell like a man. Your skin might be more rough, you know, your bone structure is different. Everything is different before you transition.
I think it's important to say that even if someone has transitioned, it's still okay to not want to have sex with someone, even if they do present as the gender you are attracted to.
Yeah,
because, you know, sometimes you want a penis or you want a vagina.
Okay, this argument. Okay. So I was getting the fact that they were like, sometimes you just want to date someone who has a penis or vagina. That's totally in everyone's free will. They can date whatever they want. They can have their preferences. The thing I agree with them on is everybody can have, obviously, sexual orientation. That's like, it's not anything to do with that. That's just, so you can have preferences within your sexual orientation, not saying that if you know, like, your sexual orientation, you're born like that, that's how it is. You like what it is that you've liked for as long as you can remember or whatever. But inside of that, you can have preferences, like if you're a gay woman, you can only like other women that are larger women, or that have blonde hair, or have blue eyes, that kind of stuff.
You know, like, I've had this conversation
and
before.
sometimes you want someone that is physically capable of having children, and no trans person is if they transition.
Okay, one of the things that pisses me off about this argument is that, oh my god, is... Okay, first off, they don't know the full facts. Sometimes it is possible that, first off, yes, it is possible that trans women have already, or whatever, trans men or whatever, have like their eggs or their sperm, they have taken it before they went through the transition, and they've stored it away so that they can have kids afterwards. Or some of them, I think it's a rare fruit, but some of them still will decide to get pregnant, and like trans men will get pregnant and decide to give birth to a child. Or sometimes, you know, usually if they haven't done any of that, yes, the hormones can make them infertile, but there's so many other ways. Adoption, there's surrogates, there's all this kind of thing, fostering, adoption. There's so many ways you can get kids. Okay, you want a biological kid, right? But imagine, like, if you've been dating or married to someone for God knows how long, been trying for kids for ages, and all of a sudden, one day, you guys go to a doctor and they're like, you can't have kids, either one of them, or like the wife can't have kids, like she's infertile, and they're both cisgendered people or just cis people. in general, and the husband has to then think about that. I don't think if that's the person that he is married, he has fallen in love with, spent like all of his life with, he's probably not just going to I've seen this argument used a lot because I feel like it's very valid on many different people's videos, because he's not just going to ditch her just because she can't have kids. And I think that's vice versa with, but...
Many of these reasons simmer down to preferences.
Sexuality isn't a preference.
Why?
You can't argue.
Is that in quotes?
Yeah, you can't argue and say that gay people don't have a choice to be gay and then say that at the same time it's a preference.
She is basically saying that sexuality is a choice.
They didn't say sexuality is a preference, you fucking blithering idiots. Sorry, I'm getting so angry. They never said preference. She said preferences, as in, like, not to do with, like, wasn't saying sexual orientation is a preference. And the fact that they are saying that having to choose trans women is saying that sexual orientation is a preference, is saying that trans women have to be chosen as women and they don't count as women because these people aren't going to be attracted to them.
She's saying that you choose who you're attracted to.
No, she didn't. She is just saying preferences. She isn't saying sexuality is a choice. She is saying that all she's trying to say is that trans women are women. Like, she's not saying that that it's a preference to choose women in general. She's not saying that. She's just saying it shouldn't be called a preference not to choose trans women because they are women.
Put quotes around it as saying that it's like nonsensical.
Fuck off, Ariel, you're fucking shaking. Oh my god, you're such a cunt. People, sorry, I'm usually try to be so reserved on this stuff, but I've watched like a few videos of Ariel, like quite recently, and I think slowly my rage has just been building like more and more. They just try and leap on this and say that she is saying that sexuality is a preference. She never said that. She just said preferences in quotes to do with the fact that people are saying that you can have a preference for or against dating a trans woman. Okay, well, they go on now for a little while speaking about the differences between men and women and their preferences.
But I find that the preferences argument in a lot of these situations tends to be a really weak as shit excuse for being, oh god, how do I say this? Super transphobic.
It isn't exactly ideal, but I personally am just like, well, I mean, it's not their fault that I don't have... I mean, it's not my fault either, I guess, but it's not their fault that I don't have what they want, like, physically.
It's transphobic for me to like licking a vagina instead of sucking a penis.
No one said that you were going to have to suck any penises if you're with a trans woman. This
whole thing just seems so dumb to me.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Jacqueline. I know exactly what you're talking about. I think all of this sounds dumb to me. It's just why...
My problem is
that we're like sitting here trying to do the mental gymnastics around what they're even trying to say and trying to respond to it in a way that makes sense. It's just stupid. Like, who cares what your preferences are?
Ooh, I wonder how that feels.
But when it comes to trans people, there's often a very hard line.
Penises is a hard line.
Oh my god, why did you just... You do realise, like, there are people out there that are sensitive to that kind of stuff. Look at that fucking smug grin on her face. Like, look at this joke I just made, isn't it so hilarious? No, it's not hilarious. Like, I personally, obviously it's not me that's getting offended at this, but people who, like trans women, who that could bring on so much dysphoria. You do realise what you're saying, like that joke. I mean, this is a hard line. Oh my god, shut up.
I'm not saying that you can't have preferences. You can prefer to date someone who looks or acts or is a certain way.
She just says you can have preferences, but you can't. But
you can have preferences unless you won't fuck a trans person.
And then you're transphobic. But you can have preferences, it's fine, as long as your preferences don't go against what I think your preferences should be.
What makes me more annoyed more than anything about this video is that I get shit for talking for trans people, even though I've never technically talked for trans people, but she's talking for trans people.
But the majority of the time people are saying that they don't want to date a trans person, aren't dealing with those reasons. They just don't want to fuck a trans person. My discussion on someone who won't date somebody who's disabled is going to be super short because frankly, I find it quite ridiculous. Because, spoiler, literally anybody can become disabled at literally any point in their lives. If you say that you wouldn't date a disabled person and that you would dump someone you're in love with if they became disabled, then you're just a horrible person. Yes, disability comes with a whole lot of difficulties, but if you're saying that if the love of your life was hit by a bus and could no longer walk, and that's why you're no longer into them, then honestly, they deserve a whole lot better. And here is the insane amount of disclaimer that I know most of the response videos will cut out. You don't have to date a trans person, or a black person, or a disabled person, or an Asian person, or a white person, or literally any kind of person. Before my current relationship, I'd never been with a trans person, and that's because truthfully, I just didn't know that many, and the ones that I did know, I just wasn't into.
But it's okay to be attracted to certain parts of a trans person before they're fully transitioned, and not be attracted to certain parts of a trans person before they're fully transitioned. This is the difference for most people on why they wouldn't want to date a trans person, and it doesn't have nothing to do with their being trans. It has to do with where they're at in their transition. She's being very vague about this, which is the problem.
And right before that, she's like, everyone's gonna cut this part out. You can date whoever you want. That's defeating the purpose of her whole video.
Of the whole video.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can totally date whoever you want, but I'm gonna say that you're a bigot if your values don't align with mine.
Right.
So yeah, you can do whatever you want, but it's just messed up of you and you're a horrible person.
The reason I wanted to post this video, A, because this has been going on with me in the trans community. These types of trans people, not the trans community in general. Most of you that watch me that are trans are absolutely
this type
wonderful.
of video is an extreme
example. This is the extremist side of the trans community, and I want people that are watching this that aren't trans to know that this is a very extreme version of these type of people, and most trans people are really cool. I get shit for talking for trans people, even though I've never technically talked for trans people. This is the extremist side of the trans community, and I want people that are watching this that aren't trans to know that this is a very extreme version of these type of people, and most trans people are really cool.
Okay, so I'm linking the video down below. If you go to watch that, you can watch the entire video, nothing will be cut out, and you can get a gist of the video and make up your own opinions and come back and see what my opinions on it are, and then hopefully we can have a discussion down below. So I originally made a video reacting to the entire video, but I think it was just a lot of me getting angry and irritated and making weird noises and like, you know, just going crazy and rambling, because it was a mess. I really had like a think about it, and I came back now to make this response because I was just editing the other video and I thought it's just way too long first off, and I'm not getting anything anything that is good out because I'm just like getting angry at this. And I understand, one of the things I want to say first is I understand where Ariel is coming from, like she's saying that people are allowed preferences. And of course people are allowed preferences. And the major thing here, I didn't like some of the stuff they said, arguments they have against it to do with like fact that trans people after they transition can't, aren't fertile, and making jokes that could easily make people feel dysphoric. Overall, the video, they just pretty much try and explain themselves and explain why it's sort of like a move. I guess it's trying to like get rid of lesbians and stuff. Not outrightly, but in many ways. She's not going to say outrightly trans women aren't women, but the way she explains stuff, a lot of it led towards the idea that she was suggesting that trans women aren't women. And of course I don't think she's doing this on purpose, but a lot of the stuff she was saying was separating trans women from women. And at the end of the day, all of the people that were outraged at this are just trying to say that trans women are still women. And okay, yeah, you're allowed to have any preference you're on. I understand when I'm speaking to someone, it's happened on Tinder before, where I speak to someone and they ask me the question, which I wouldn't recommend asking to every trans person, but they ask me if I've had the operation or what I've got down there, and I say, well, of course I haven't had the operation, I'm only young. And they reply with like, so you've got what you originally had. If it's like, for example, if it's like I'm speaking to a gay guy or a straight woman, and then they'll be like, oh no, oh no, no thank you. And then they'll move on and I'll be like, that's okay. For me, I think it's okay because that's their choice to date me. I understand why it would be a bit of a burden. Like, everyone just wants a simple relationship. They don't want to have to deal with my extra baggage of the fact that I'm not exactly a generic guy to people. And I understand what they're on about. Everyone can date who they want. No one needs to have sex with anyone. It's not like proving that you're an ally if you have sex with trans people. The thing is that a lot of people are saying is, yes, it hurts transgender people when, or just trans people in general, it hurts them when people turn them down because they don't have what the genitals that they sort of wish that they had, like, you know what I mean. The genitals, it does hurt trans people that people don't want to date them because they don't exactly either look completely or pass completely, or that they don't have the genitals that you desire, and I'm sure they desire themselves, and that hurts them, and that's why there's quite a lot of outrage around it in general. But of course, even though it hurts them, sadly for me it's something I have to sort of deal with, because I realise, well, I mean, those people, not everyone is going to be a saint and is going to look past the fact that, I may not have naturally what I need, but of course not everyone's going to be a saint, and I do have to just be like, okay, that's fine, if you don't want anything to do with that, then that's okay. But surprisingly, quite a few people I've spoken to have been like, yeah, that's fine. Like, they didn't even mention it. They asked me a few questions about it, but they never used it against me or stopped speaking to me because of it. But I've had a few people. I understand the other side of it, of people being like, well, that's making me feel like I'm not... you don't see me as a real man or woman, whether you be trans man or trans woman, whether you see me as the real thing, because they don't want to date you because of the fact you weren't born, or you don't have what everyone perceives you should have downstairs. I understand both sides. And I'm trying to find a good way to describe the reason why I think this video is silly. The video they made. I'm trying to put it into words. But okay, I get what they're saying. Everyone has preferences. We all know that. I prefer people, I guess, with sort of longer, dark hair, I guess. Guys with longer dark hair, and that's a preference. I guess blue eyes is a preference, but to be honest, I'm not exactly one person who holds very many preferences, but everyone has little preferences that if they could choose someone, they choose someone like this. And I mean, you know what I mean? If most people probably have, not everyone, but a lot of people have a preference, well, me, for someone who's quite, if they're dating a guy, someone who's quite muscular, or maybe a woman, someone, I don't know, who's got got curves or something. And yeah, that's fine, whatever. But I think the fact is, something that was described in one of the best ways, definitely one of the best ways that I've seen, is Uppercase Chase's video I was watching. And in that video, they hit on a topic, well, Chase's best friend hit on a topic that I think was exactly the reason why people don't like this video, even if they can't put it into words. Obviously, there's the fact that it's separating trans women, and it's separating people with a certain genitalia to their gender, and putting them in a different pile of people, and we don't want any separation. We want hopefully equality in the future. Hopefully equality as in no one really sees us as different, but that's probably always going to be a thing. Sadly. The reason that I think that people are just so, not baffled, but I can't even put the words together myself about this video, is because of the best way of saying it is I can just show you this clip.
For example,
violence, man. Violence.
like-
Emotional violence is a thing.
But do we know she prefers fat guys, skinny guys, black guys, fucking white guys, Indian guys? Do we know any of those preferences about her? No.
No.
We just know that she wouldn't date trans people. Why? I'm sure you have a bunch of other preferences that would hurt people's feelings, but you're like, oh, there's no point in making a video about that because it'll just hurt people's feelings for no reason. Oh, you don't say.
Oh, that's so good, Aaron. That's so good. Oh, that's good. She's not making a video being like, I'm not attracted to fat guys. And if she did...
She's not going to make the video because what's the point? You're just going to hurt your viewers' feelings because you acknowledge that there are fat people out there, some of which are your viewers, and you're going to hurt them. So you don't make the video. Maybe you don't date black people because you're already a terrible person, so why not? So you don't make a video about that though because you're like, I probably have black viewers and there's no point. What's the point of making that video? All it'll do is hurt people. It's not bringing anything good to the table.
And I'll look like a racist.
And I'll look like a racist.
I mean, she probably didn't even think that though.
Still, but at the same time, okay, I would never date a trans person. But what's the point in making the video? You have trans viewers, trans people will see this, you're hurting their feelings, you're not helping anybody. Who are you helping? The marginalized cis people? So, whatever. At the end of the day, have your shitty opinions, nobody could force you to do anything, do what you want, but stop going out of your way to talk about trans people and how you wouldn't date them and why. And talk about our genitals and use words that hurt. Like, just stop. I don't understand.
Literally, let it go.
I think that is probably one of the best ways to say it, but they probably be like, no, probably better not make a video about that because that wouldn't be right. That would just be, wrongly hurtful about that, But then they make a video about the fact that they wouldn't like trans people. And that's just like, well, you were trying to say that it was hurtful for it, like, you wouldn't make a video about someone's random trait, just make a whole video saying you're against that, but then you make a video about trans people. Like, it's fair enough, live your life, do what you want, have what preferences you want, date who you want, but I mean, you don't have to point out, like, the whole fact, and some of the way that you're saying stuff I just think is quite insensitive, the way that they're speaking about different types of genitalia and joking about it and saying, what if you're this with a penis or whatever. So anyway, that was my thing. I don't feel like Ariel and Jacqueline are necessarily trying to be openly transphobic. It's weird because it's very on the borderline. But I understand what word they're trying to get out there and why they're trying to put the word out there. But I still think it's ridiculous, some of the stuff that they're saying. So that was this video. Yeah, I'm going to link everything down below. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. This was an eventful one. I feel like I need a lot of ice cream after that, very stressful. I freaked out earlier when I was actually watching the video, and I'm glad I didn't just post that one because it was a mess. So I will see you guys on another occasion in my next video. Ta-ta. I never say ta-ta, but ta-ta. What am I doing? Bye.